Hi everyone, it's Hillary. This is my first book review video. I am super excited to make it, and I can't wait to talk about Cecily, the book that I read this past October. It's by Garthwaite. It was for the Pilgrim's Book Club with Sherlock and Pages. I will include links below so you can check out more about the club and then Sherlock and Pages as well. They are a bookshop based out of Frome, England. I have loved being part of this bookshop that they started, so if it's of interest to you, please do check it out. But why don't we get started talking about this real page-turner of a book that I could not put down. Alright, so to give you a bit of the background of the book, I'm just going to read the synopsis on the back. So, 1431 is a dangerous time for a woman to be defiant. England has been fighting France for 100 years. At home, power-hungry men within a corrupt government manipulate a weak king and name Cecily's husband, York's loyal duke, an enemy. As the king's grasp on sanity weakens, plots to destroy York take root. It will take all of Cecily's courage and cunning to save her family. But when the will to survive becomes ambition for the crown, will she risk treason to secure it? This is war as women fight it. And so this book, she's described as wife, mother, politician, traitor, fighter, survivor. This book had, it was just a real page turner for me. I have a basic knowledge of the Wars of the Roses and the 100 Years' War, which this revolves around. So I really didn't know what was going to happen with the historical figures that are mentioned or how the plot will fully unfold, because again, I just had a basic level of knowledge of what was going to happen historically. Anyway, so it was a real page turn for me, a real political thriller. There was like this constant suspense and unease, because for me, I didn't know who was going to keep their head or not. And just like wanting to find out who's going to make it to the end, how and why, because for me, I could never tell like if a character was like trustworthy or if they were gonna, switch sides to keep in power or to save themselves. And it was just, could not put it down. I think I read it in less than a week. It was just, I needed to find out what was gonna happen. So I love historical fiction, so this was, I was really excited to read it. But for historical fiction, for me, it can be kind of hit or miss. I think it's because I have trouble connecting with characters based on historical figures if it's like really deep into like their thoughts and feelings. And I prefer ones that are a little more like removed, that you're sort of beside them and watching an event unfold around them. So you're involved in this larger dramatic stage that is going on. And that's what, for me, this book did really well, is that I felt like I was beside Cecily the whole time, kind of experiencing these events, and it wasn't like getting so deep into her thoughts and feelings that then it made her unreal, even though she was based off of a real person, if that makes sense. And that's what I think that's what really kept me going and guessing, because also, if you're not so deep into the character's like inner world, you still kind of don't know what's going to happen exactly. And I think that was another like reason of why this was such a page turner for me, because there was enough about the character that you didn't know, or you got the sense that you didn't know how far she was going to go for power, and then to keep surviving and to keep her family surviving and going. And I think that's what was also a page turner for me, that historically she seems to almost be a bit of a mystery. There was a talk that Sherlock and Pages did with the author, which I will link below so you can check out. But it seems like Cecily, the record of her, the historical record, is a bit of a mystery. And so the author was really digging in to find more about who she was as a person. And that, I think it really comes through in this book, that the character was really well researched and fleshed out and given life. Enough life that you were engaging with her in a way that kept you on your toes, at least for me when I was reading it. And I thought She was really well developed and well written. And then also the character herself, Cecily, she's not the most likable character, if I'd say so, which to me I enjoy, because I want to be with a figure in this book that is human, that is flawed, and that has those flaws. And you can kind of see that when she's talking about her eldest daughter, or with her relationship with her husband Richard, that there's a humanness, and there's drives and desires, and they're not always like fully explained why. Like, she's driven on by all these wants and needs, and just by, you know, surviving. And again, the way the character is portrayed, it's like she will stop at nothing, and nothing will get in her way, and it's like you don't really know what to expect. So that's what made it another page turner for me. Okay, so Cecily was one of those novels that for me I got so emotionally invested in that by the end of the book I was thinking about it constantly, and also going down a rabbit hole of research about the Wars of the Roses and these historical figures and everything that was going on and when it was taking place. I was like on Google Maps finding all these locations and researching them on websites. So this is definitely the type of book that for me would inspire almost a trip to these historical sites, and that I would want to experience firsthand. I think it's just because it left such an impression on me and really grounded me into the story and the emotional lives of these people and the events. And, you know, it made history come to life, cliche as that sounds, and that's something that would inspire me to go to a place, you know, to actually experience it. So if I find myself within these regions of England mentioned, like I know where these places, so to be in that place where Cecily was like living and breathing and these events were taking place, it just makes these places take on a whole new meaning. You know, you go there and it's like the tangible experience that this was a real person. Story aside, they were there. This was happening. This was, you know, these events were going on in their life. And, you know, in that moment in that time, it's like they didn't know what was going to happen in their lives or how this history was going to play out, or the story that the events that they were involved in.